As I get older now, I'm getting older. I really realize that I understand and have wisdom of a male role. You can tell a person like myself. I was in a situation, and I understand why I took things. Sometimes I took things very personal. Sometimes it's because I, for the most part, without that male role in your life, it will have you. It'll have a lot to do with controlling your emotions, learning how to control your emotion. I'm in a stage and I'm in an era to where I'm trying to learn how it's hard to control my emotions. Okay, and that's why it's always good is to, if you look at the African American household, did we have an absent father? Absolutely. Yes. And that has a lot to do with how even the women, you can tell a lot of, and guess where it all come from. It started with the so-called white man. The so-called white man, that was his aim from the very start. Have you noticed, if you look in the Garden of Eden, the devil always wanted to, he started attacking the family. You see what I'm saying? And if you look at the role of the woman versus Adam, look at the woman and look at Adam and look at Eve. Look, what did Eve do? She did not rely upon and listen to the man. And the man ended up falling and listening to the woman instead of him standing up and being the leader or whatever. He listened to the serpent, right? The serpent represents the other nations. It represents, if you read varieties of others, that ain't what it's talking about. But if you think about how Adam responded to the nation, he ended up yielding to what Eve said. Instead of him saying, no, I'm going to stand up and be the man, and we're going to stand up and we're going to follow these commandments. No, he chose to go along with what the other nation was saying. And notice how these women are driven. They're driven by the so-called white man. Whatever the so-called white man say, give them or whatever. In order for us to give you these wit and give you these benefits, you got to not have a man in the house. You got to get the man out the house. And there you have it right there. That it was the destruction of the black family, the destruction of the so-called black family, right there, because we live. That don't think for a minute that we still not having this today. This is the reason why you have single parent households, because number one, because of the so-called white man, we living in these poor communities and stuff like that, all due to the fact of one nation of our first parents failed to keep the laws of the Most High God. Right. And we can see that generation of curse is constantly going on down. We can see that. I can see that. And this is how you would know who the true children of God are. The true children of God is, you can tell. You can just look at the conditions that we face and how when we walk out here in the real world out here and we just whatever, you can see how we act toward each other, because these are the curses that is put up on our people. That's why you got single women living in a household saying they don't need a man, saying they don't need this and they don't need that. It's because they don't listen to the enemy, the so-called white man, tell them you don't need a man in the house, you can do it all by yourself, this and that and the third. That's why you got our women done turned into these prostitutes and whores and selling themselves and all that kind of stuff. It's because our women done listen to these other nations. Think about it. The Europeans, when they came here, when they conquered our people, you see the results of our people being conquered. You can the next door neighbors and say, hey, look, I need you to do this for me. Can you do blah 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 and this and that blank blank whatever? No, because you're not gonna get that genuine response. They some of them after you leave, some of them will talk about you. Some of them gonna sit there and they're gonna talk about you. That's what they're gonna do. Hell yeah. It's like what's mine is mine. It ain't yours. Go out there and get it. That's the generation we living in now, and that's the reason why they walking around. And like you look at this modern day stuff, like we have YouTube and stuff like this, and why don't we use it for good? But a lot of our people, and I think this is what actually destroyed our people, because it's not the social media that destroys people. It is how we use it and how we utilize this information with how we think. You see what I'm saying? It's what destroys us. You see what I'm saying? If you have, like, we have social media, we have those things, we have those platforms to where we can get on these different platforms and we can speak in all these, stuff of that nature. But what we're doing, we're using them for destruction. You see what I'm saying? We're using them to, if you look on TikTok. If you look on Twitter, you see it's a lot of porn over there on Twitter. Who promotes all of that? Esau, the so-called white man. You see what I'm saying? They the one it prevent all of that. Why do we hate each other? We hate each other because we have been conditioned to understand why a lot of our people respond the way that they do. Like, for example, in this modern day age, we was ignorant of our knowledge, right? Okay, like I may walk up to a brother and ask him, "Hey, what's your nationality?" I asked a brother that, a little young man up in here, that a few days ago. The response that I got was, "Why you want to know what my nation of people are?" Now, mind you, now we live in the same hood, we live in the same neighborhood, and this and that and the third. And this is no diss to the young man. This is no diss to the little brother, because I realize he's a young brother. You got to be patient with him, because I was there once in that same situation to where I didn't have a male role in my life, neither my brothers, and I'm putting this out for educational purpose. Um, don't get me wrong. I ain't gonna cap. I felt some type of way. I did when the young brother did that. So what I did, I just had to just like what I did. I brushed it off. You know what I mean? Because I didn't make a big deal out of it, but underneath the surface, I was pissed off as hell. But I had to, you know what I'm saying. You have to let it like, okay, all right, okay, give it some time. Just like in that incident, because what I was gonna tell him, man, look, I did tell him. I said, look, the reason why saying that is because the blacks, Hispanics, and Native American, our people have been bamboozled. You're a real Jew according to the Bible. That's what I was saying. And I said, oh, okay, you know what? The reason for that is because our people didn't have a father in their life. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense, because I look at the other brother that lives, this is a young man that live in the neighborhood, right? They see me come out all the time or whatever. And we, you know what I mean? I'd be coming out chilling and doing my little thing, going in and out, minding my business and stuff like that. And I noticed a difference between him, the young man, and you know what I'm saying. It's like I asked him. I said, "What would you call yourself if you was?" I actually have a video on my other channel. No, wait a minute. I have a video on this channel and I have one on my other channel. What I do, I put the links in the description, and y'all can go and watch those videos. And I'll show you exactly. You'll hear exactly what I said. So I put the links down below after I'm done recording this. I said we was out there shooting ball, out there playing ball. I was out there in the park because they asked me to play ball with them. All right, I said okay, cool. All right, so I said, it's all good. So I said, hey man, let me ask you something. If you had to say what is your race? Because I didn't know how to start off. I said, what would you call yourself? Say your race. Would you say so-called? Would you say black, white? He said black. I said, you know what, bro? You're from the tribe of Judah. Even though he didn't understand right away. So I just say, well, okay, I understand the young and you're just not gonna glance everything right away because I didn't. But my point is, he didn't take it. He didn't ask me come off and ask me why did you say that. He didn't come off and ask me in an aggressive way why did you say that. And I noticed a difference when I asked the other young man that same thing. I said, because he didn't know where I was. His older friend didn't know. He didn't know where I was going with the question. Like, okay, because don't get me wrong, I had to pump my brakes a little bit. You got to be patient because they're young, and everybody not going to come from the same response due to the fact it depended on how the environment and how you was raised. So I had to kind of pump my brakes and walk off. And like, I ain't gonna lie, like I said, I ain't gonna lie, I'm not gonna cap. I felt some type of way, but I kept my composure and I like, okay, let me be. I had to brush it off and take it like a man and keep kicking, keep going. So that's what I did. So I asked him. I said, "What would you call your race if you had to?" What did you ask him? What my race? No, he didn't come off loud like that. He just said, "Why are you asking about what race I am?" You know. So he, in his mind, he was taking. And then from there, I was thinking, I said, you know what? I can see the difference in between the other young man and when I'm speaking of them, I'm speaking of myself too. The reason why, because to a degree, I'm still healing because I'm emotional to a degree because there are times I done took things personal too. When I'm in situations that dealing with women or whether it's dealing with or whatever, I had to come to a conclusion. They came from a single parent home too. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, now, you got to pump your brakes and you got to give them time to come up too. You see what I'm saying? Because we all in the same situation. So I came to a conclusion to realize is that, okay, his other friend didn't have a father, a role model in his life. Not sure, I could be wrong now, but I said he must have didn't have a father because when I looked at his down the streets from the neighbor's house, said that, okay, there's some like that. Oh, that's my from what he was saying, and I said, he had to have a different, two-parent household, and he had to have some kind of male influence because of. I can tell the difference in the way he responds, even though he's still not saying he's not still having it hard in the African American community like we all do. You know what I'm saying? We all in this shit together because you can see we all live in the same hood. I mean, in the neighborhood. You see what I'm saying? So this is what we're used to. So we respond like this because this is how we was raised. This is what we was born into. You see what I'm saying? So I said that to say this here. I understand why. That's the title of the video. I understand why it's important to have a male role. Because even with myself and the way I respond, I can tell the difference. Like I said, I'm going to make some changes in my life. 2022. No, before 2022, in 2021, I made a change. I said, I'm not going to be thinking like sexual devious ways and stuff like that. So ever since I did that, so I've been clean coming up within, in December, sometime in November, December, I would have been clean from self pleasuring, if that makes. I'm thankful for it, but I've been making other changes in my life too as well as I'm going, and it's been like I said, it ain't been easy or whatever, because without the male role, it makes it even tougher, and that's the reason why I've been responding emotionally and been cussed and rejected by women and stuff. I was part of the results, but not having a male figure, a male influence in the house. You see what I'm saying? And when I look at the conditions of the family, and this is just a adolescent for those who may click on this video and need encouragement. And I'm like, oh, okay. Because you said in Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 46, these curses will be upon these people for a sign and for a wonder and upon thy seed forever. I said, okay, this is what you're saying in the Bible. You said this is how you will be able to identify those people. You see what I'm saying? I hope nobody hear that music. Let me know if y'all hearing the music. Uh, okay. I hear it beat of music. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna go in the house, man, and I will finish it off. But I understand why it's important to have a male role. That's the title of the video. Because it causes you is to respond a certain way. And I noticed that's why I've been doing, and I can tell when I talk, I can tell when I talk to other the young people and the young men out here in the hood out here where I grew up at. You know what I'm saying? Out here in the hood, you see I don't know if y'all can see the basketball goal right there. That look, yeah, the little basketball goal. I'm pretty sure y'all can see that basketball goal right there, right? In the little part right there where you see the little jump, like in the middle right there where I'm making the camera jump. Right there where that van at, it's a white van way over there. And they got them two trees. Well, okay, you can see, you get the point. Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, I understand it was cold out there. That's the reason why I had a jacket on. It's pretty cold outside. But I can understand why it's important to have a male role in the house. And I'm going to come back later on and I'm going to explain why. I'm going to go into the video dealing with harlots and stuff like that, how Israel went off into adultery and stuff like that. And then that you will know that that's talking about our people who went off into that type of stuff. And so what God did, he turned around and brought punishment on Israel for that type of stuff. And you can tell who is Israel because a lot of our women are in that situation. It says, do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore, lest the land become full of whoredom and full of wickedness. You see what I'm saying? And I will spit them out or did brought judgment, which were before these were the things that the nation did, which were before you. That means our forefathers was doing these things during Bible times. You see what I'm saying? And so you can see, look around even today and saw what happened yesterday, day before, and even up until now, coming in tomorrow and next and next and forever. You can see who fit these curses and who are the Israelites. You see what I'm saying? Because, we live in separate communities and stuff like that. So this is the reason why you can tell the difference in between the way that sometimes you don't have a male role in the house, and then sometimes you can still have a male role in the house, and this and that and the third. And sometimes the males that are there, is emotional as the women and stuff, and the children can come out corrupt, and then sometimes the children still can come out on a righteous end as well by the grace of the Most High God. But sometimes you got men. There's a difference. You can have a man in the house, but if they not taking that role, because see, there's a role for the male and there's a role for the woman. You see what I'm saying? That woman's role is to nurture the child, supposedly. The man's role is to mold and shape and talk and teach his son how to be survive as a male and how to take responsibility and stuff like that. And be able to. The woman should be there is to nurture her husband and make sure he's good and everything. Being the nurturer or whatever. But everything is flipped and turned upside down now. You see what I'm saying? So the point I'm making is, I'm coming back to my original point. I can understand why the young man in here responded the way that he did. I said, that told me that he must have not had too much of a male influence in his life, because just like me. Just like the other young brother, he wasn't offended when I asked him, if you had to say what your race was, would you say black, white, whatever? He didn't ask me why, he just said black. And he must have been about 8, it must be been about 8, 9, probably about 9 or 10, and 9. He might be about 9 years old. I don't know. But I noticed that when we was out there playing ball, right? I know, this the little young man in hood, and I noticed that I told him, I said, you from the tribe of Judah, right? I noticed that he didn't get upset. I mean, he didn't get mad. He didn't respond in no emotion. We like, what are you saying? What made you ask that? No, he didn't. He just told me. So when I look at that, I said, you know what? He getting good. Whoever is raising him, he's got good morals. You see what I'm saying? He's definitely got some good morals. You can tell that he had that male figure in his life. Just like me, I didn't have no male figure in my life. And I can say, like I said, I done got hell of emotional and mad. Even when I was in my 30s, women was rejecting me for whatever reason, it's because they didn't have that male role in their life as a woman to show them what a man how a man supposed to love them and stuff like that. So if they didn't come from a place of being shown love, they ain't gonna know how to give that love back to you. So I'm not gonna hold this video out long, but I'm gonna put the link to those other channels that I got in here, to the video of me talking to the young man and asking him his nationality, and he told me. You see what I'm saying? You might have to really listen or turn your volume up on your devices to be able to hear what I was saying. We was out there shooting ball. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the link to that video and I'm going to put it down in the description once I end this live right now. So I'm going to see y'all later. But the video title is I understand why it's important to have a male role. All right, I'm out.